Welcome to the 3 Knockdown Rule. Starring Mario Lopez and Steve Kim. Presented by Hustler Casino.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 3 Knockdown Rule brought to you by Hustler Casino is in effect. I'm Steve Kim, joined by our fall classic, Mr. Mario Lopez.
Thank you, Kimster. Thank you. I'm sounding a little like Vito Corleone today because I attended the Dodgers game and my son's at a wrestling tournament, so pardon the rasp. But shout out to Smoking Tim Frazier and
Tino on the edits, the bout sheet for this program. Catterall-Prograis review, fight preview, news and notes, Ask Mario, and final flurries. But before we get started, we want to let you know this podcast is sponsored by Hustler Casino. Beat the congestion and enjoy free parking every day at Hustler Casino. Introducing So Fine Sundays, where every Sunday you can win tons of cash with drawings every 2 hours from 12 noon to 8 p.m. Stop by and see how big you can win at Hustler Casino.
Round one.
All right, round number one from the Co-op Live Arena in Manchester, England. Junior welterweight contenders clashed, and it was Jack Catterall with the hard-fought 12-round decision over Prograis after getting knocked down in the 5th. He sent Prograis down twice in the 9th, and after 12 rounds, the scores 116-109 twice, and then 117-108. Mario, we're big fans of Prograis. We know him personally. We have a lot of respect for him. But did you see a guy who's much closer to the end than the prime of his career?
Well, I think that could be said for a lot of guys that are approaching 35. But I thought he is 35 actually, right? I thought he looked good early. He dropped him in the 5th, and that was a legitimate knockdown. Granted, he might have been a little off balance, but he punched him. There were no feet entangled right there. But it seemed after the 5th that Catterall got his timing down. And every time Prograis tried to step in, he was getting caught with something. Those were some great counter punches. And then thoroughly ended up getting outboxed down the stretch. In the 9th, obviously, he suffered those big knockdowns. But yeah, the thing about Catterall that I like is that he's got that old school sort of look and style to him, like those throwback fighters. He's not throwing 20 punches at a time. It's not necessarily flashy, but when he throws his hands, it counts. And it's something serious. And he's a crafty southpaw that's always well-conditioned. He's got a high fight IQ. And I thought he looked good in there. You know, like you said, I do like Prograis a lot as a person and as a fighter, and he's a 2-time champion. And I think he's had some great moments. I think he's now had a couple of back-to-back performances that haven't been his best, and I think there's a lot of tread on those tires. He had moments in there, but I don't know if it's age, fatigue, or just wear and tear that down the stretch he wasn't able to close as strong. Not for lack of effort, he was trying, but Catterall was very slick in there, and that was a comfortable victory. Do I think he should retire? Look, I don't ever want to tell a man what to do with his life, and I think he recently came out and said he wasn't, and if he wants to continue, well, then God bless him. I hope he doesn't get hurt. He handled the loss like a gentleman, and he's a class act, just like we said, in the ring and outside of the ring afterwards.
When you admit in the post-fight interview these boxing matches are too long, well, to be a championship-level fighter, they're all 12. I've never heard of an 8-round championship fight. And then when you say...
you start saying it's too long, you're right.
And then he said, well, maybe I'll do bare-knuckle boxing. With all due respect with your association, the BKFC is being used as some sort of halfway house between fighters who have a little bit of left but may not be world-class. Okay, that's fine. But, you know, Justin Fortune, the trainer out here that we've known for years, once taught me years ago, mate, when you talk about retirement...
You're already retired.
You're already retired.
You're retired. And listen... Not taking any shot. First of all, BKFC, a lot of those fighters right there are getting paid very handsomely. So maybe he's thinking, because I'm more of a sprinter now as opposed to a marathoner, it might bode well. So who knows?
Right, and there's nothing wrong with that.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
But here is the issue with Prograis. This is not about one fight. There's a word called erosion. So let's go back. Against Daniel Zariah last summer, Okay, maybe that was just an aberration.
Yeah, that was tough. That was a homecoming. I thought maybe a lot of pressure and eyes, whatever.
Then Devin Haney, very skilled. Then you think, okay, you know what? That's a coincidence. Devin's very good at boxing. Here's the thing.
But hold on, pause there. I actually thought Prograis might be a little too mean for him, strong for him. I was actually surprised by that.
It didn't win a round.
Yeah, that's why I was shocked.
And then with Catterall, he faded down the stretch. 3 in a row is like, that's what you are. That's who you are. Now, Catterall is a world-class junior welterweight, and we're going to talk about him later. But there comes a point in time when you turn old, and it's not even about the age. It's about the ring activity, the miles on the odometer, maybe how hard you trained. Look, Prograis' last good performance was Thanksgiving weekend of 2022 when he beat Sean Cepeda out there at the War Grounds.
That was a good fight.
This will now be 2.5 years by the next time he fights. Should he fight again? So keep that in mind. But I want to say this about Regis. If he stops fighting right now, here's a guy that traveled the world. He made some money, was involved in a fight of the year, saw a lot of different places, fought on a lot of different networks, and was a respected figure. That's a good career.
I agree.
That's a lot to be proud of.
And he's a good guy. I hope he invested well and is able to parlay it into other things and somehow is able to stay in the sport because I think he's good for it.
Right, and you talk about Catterall. Look, is he an absolute hammer? But no. But as you mentioned, against Josh Taylor and now against Prograis, especially in round 9, when he hits you, it may not be the most devastating power, but there's a certain accuracy in the way he just turns over the shots. And I look at this landscape and look at the ratings at 140, according to Ring Magazine. Your champion is Teofimo Lopez, who has a WBO belt. Number 1 is Devin Haney. Number 2 is Jose Ramirez. Number 3 is the IBF belt holder, Liam Paro. Number 4 is Catterall. Number 5 is the WBC champion, Alberto Puello. I don't know if Catterall is favored against any of these guys or all of them, but I think he's a tough out for every single guy in the division.
Tough out for everyone in the division, champions included. So he deserves a title shot.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens next. I know he has called out Teofimo Lopez. Mario, based on what we know about Teofimo's background, current state of mind, and in the past, what has given Teofimo a lot of problems?
Style just like Catterall's.
Uh-oh.
Look, the thing I like about Teofimo is he wants the biggest, most dangerous guys, right? Terrence Crawford, like it's that crazy talk. We used to think it was crazy talk when he was talking like that about Loma and Taylor. But this inactivity is killing him and killing his chances of getting those big fights. I don't know why he wouldn't, and they've sparred before, focus more on a guy like Tank, who I know we're going to maybe talk about him a little bit later, but that seems to make more sense considering Tank has fought at 140. He's close to his size. I think he needs to stop mentioning Crawford, and I would love to see a fight between those two.
That would be a fight that would be one of the 3 or 4 best fights, and it'd also have some commercial value. Here's the problem with Teofimo. Now he's trying to claim that his current contract with Top Rank is invalid, and from what I've been told, there is no efficacy to those claims. The bottom line is he is, for lack of a better term, locked in with Top Rank. And I don't get this. At the beginning of the year, what did they say? No, we're going to keep sharp. We're going to keep busy. We're going to fight 4 times. And look, his first 2 performances, there were nothing to write home about against Steve Clavigan and then Jermaine Ortiz. That September date at the Garden, that was supposed to be his headline performer. And then now I don't know when he's going to fight again. What do they say about the unused blade? It gets dull. So there comes a point in time where, again, yes, he is number 1 at 140, but his inactivity and his recent performances, and look, Catterall's not super busy, but in this year, he gained revenge over Josh Taylor and then beat a respected guy in Regis Prograis. By today's standards, that is a solid year, and I believe that he has a much sharper blade. It'll be interesting to see which champion gets in there with that well-schooled, sound, professional southpaw style of El Gato. All right, we come back on the 3 Knockdown Rule. We go to fight preview, news and notes, Ask Mario, and Final Flurries.
Catch it streaming live right on YouTube.
Welcome to the big leagues, kid.
$1.2 million.
And I'm losing in this fucking game. What the fuck?
There's a 400K flip. If I win by the way, you get 10 grand.
Fucking straddle!
For my fans! Why? I read it twice!
Wow. All in a call.
I'm not fucking leaving!
Raise it up.
And we're back on the 3 Knockdown Rule, brought to you by Hustler Casino. Ladies and gentlemen, are you looking to get involved with the 3 Knockdown Rule and sponsor our show? We have some spots available. Please email us at info@boxbid.io. Once again, that's info@boxbid.io. Boxbid is an online platform that helps professional boxers connect with their fans by providing exclusive Fight Week merchandise, memorabilia, and sponsorships. You can even buy a shout-out on Boxbid. Boxbid.io handles our sponsorships, and we are proudly working with Boxbid.io.
Review preview.
All right, moving along. Fight preview on ESPN Plus from my Verona, New York. It's the rematch between Robson Conceição taking on Oshaki Foster, and also lightweight contender Raymond Murataya takes on Jesus Perez. All I can say is about the Conceição-Foster rematch is I thought, like most people, that Foster won the first fight. I'm glad at least they're doing an immediate rematch. Not so sure what happens to the winner of this fight. Perhaps they go on to fight the winner of the rematch between Emmanuel Navarrete and Oscar Valdez, but we shall see.
News and notes.
Mario, a day after our show last week, we didn't get to talk about this, but we want to mention this. One of our good friends on the 3 Knockdown Rule, Superbad, Seniesa Estrada, is walking off into the sunset at age 32.
Oh, were you surprised by that?
A little bit. Surprised.
She recently got married. Which she likes to keep a secret,
right.
And I've given her a hard time about it.
Yes, you have.
I go, what? Yeah. You don't even post your husband. What's going on with that?
Well, would you stop?
You got a Sancho on the side, or what's up? I like to tease her. I love her, but I like to tease her.
Oh, yeah, I know you do.
I said, what's up with the thirst trap pics all the time?
Okay, see, now you're going
So you're married now.
But she's 32 years old, and look, maybe she's sick of the grind. I think she had some injuries that she had to deal with. But you're right, she is married, and maybe she wants to go on to motherhood. Again, I have no inside info.
Yeah.
So.
And you know what? She's a great girl, and I wish her absolutely nothing but the best. I just like to tease her, but it was a little bit surprising to me as well. Was there any potential big money fights left for her that she left on the table?
My understanding is that she wanted fights where she could fight for undisputed titles or unify further belts. Now, she is currently the minimum weight champion. That was at her last fight. Back in March, she beat Yokasta Valle in a hard-nosed fight. But I got the sense that her hunger for the sport, the flame was not as bright as it was 3 years ago. I mean, look, she's 32 years old, and if you watch the footage, she's been doing this since she was like 7 or 8. So think about that. That's 24 years of getting hit in the face.
And not only that, in all seriousness, there's a biological clock you're working with, assuming she does want to be a mom, and obviously can't be getting punched in the stomach if that's the case.
I would hope not.
So if that's the case, God bless her. I wish her nothing but the best.
So if this is her swan song, she will go out with a record of 26-0, 9 knockouts, and as the undisputed minimum weight champion.
Nice career.
And I think in many ways a part of a pioneer in females women's boxing, part of one of the group of people, young females that kind of made this into a bigger thing. I think there's a lot more money when she retired than when she began in this trade. So best of luck.
I don't think she leaves the sport. I think she wants to stay in, maybe do some commentating.
Yes, which she's done.
Yeah, exactly. So she'll be. I think we'll still be seeing her around. We should still get her in here, and we'll give her a hard time.
Yeah, no. You will give her a hard time, and I will be the gentleman like I always am.
Well, that's called charm, Kim. You should work on trying to get some.
Yeah, okay, Lucky Charm, you little leprechaun. You, Mario, remember a couple weeks ago we talked about Tank versus Lamont Roach, December 14th? Looks like it's going to be moved to January, and there's a lot of theories as to why. Dan Raphael is saying there's a venue issue. Okay, but then Boxing Insider Rick Glazer says, no, it's none of that. It's that Tank wants a lot of money, 8 figures, and the PBC may not have it, so it becomes a money issue. And now this fight may actually now co-headline with David Benavidez and David Morrell, which would be a really good doubleheader. But here's the issue. Now, I would say Tank is absolutely one of the top 3 or 4 stars in America,
but
right?
You can't call him the face of the sport if my guy only fights once a year, which he's done the last couple of years. And I like Tank, but you can't just fight once a year and try to call yourself the face of the sport. That's not
accurate.
That's not accurate.
Well, look,
and it's unfortunate.
It's one thing if you're Ray Leonard, when you're in your 30s and you've already knocked off Hagler, Hearn.
Right. If you're in the
different.
latter part, exactly, but he's in the prime of his life. This dude should be fighting 3-4 times a year at least.
At age 28, 29,
Oh,
I don't
man.
care who you are. You should be fighting more than once a year.
I don't understand. Don't these guys want to make money?
I don't think it's just him, though. Although, of course they do. Who doesn't like money? It's like the line from Roy
Evidently,
Hobbs.
they don't own a lot.
What did Roy Hobbs say in The Natural? I like a buck as much as anyone else. But when you
Evidently not,
But
because then you would want to get in the ring.
I have a question, though. But do you fault the fighters that if you're paid at a certain amount, 8 figures, and then all of a sudden they say, Tank, we're going to be a little more realistic.
I do
Can you
fight 'em.
take 2/3 of that?
Yes,
Who do
I
you
do.
blame?
I
The
do.
system or the fighter?
I blame the fighter. I'm going to tell you why. Because there was many times when De La Hoya, for example, would fight in a big pay-per-view fight, and then as another fight, just to stay busy, he would take less. It wouldn't be pay-per-view. It would just be on HBO, and it would keep him sharp. It would keep his brand sharp as well, and the awareness level would still be high, and then he'd go fight for X amount later on. So yeah, I kind of do blame him. Don't you remember that?
I absolutely look. I wrote a story on it where I talked to both Bob and Oscar about 1997. He made 5 title defenses as the biggest name in the sport.
There you go.
And both of them confirmed to me. Here's one of the issues, though. In modern day boxing, a lot of these contracts have built-in minimums. So whether you fight King Kong, Godzilla, or Steve Kim, it's XYZ amount that I'm guaranteed.
That's a mistake.
Well, from a manager standpoint, it protects your fighter. But as a promoter, you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, hold on. That's a suicide mission.
I don't even think it protects your fighter, Kim, because at the same time, we just talked about dulling the blade. He's dying on the vine then. And not him, but a boxer theoretically, if he's not fighting, he's not staying in shape, and he's not playing his craft, then he's sort of dying on the vine. And what good is he in the long run? You're not looking at the long game.
In 1997, Oscar and Bob went from Pernell Whitaker to Miguel Angel Gonzalez to, I believe, like Hector Camacho and David Kamal before that. And that was the one HBO fight.
Yeah.
And then Wilfredo Rivera. They said that there was no minimum they worked on. They basically had a projection of what this fight would do pay-per-view wise, what's our license fee or site fee from a casino, how many tickets could we sell, and then we'd work off of that. But you're right.
There you go. That's the blueprint.
I don't.
That's the way you got to go.
I don't think they do that anymore. I really don't.
Much to their dismay.
I'm with you. Look, come the retirement of Canelo Alvarez, who is the next true pay-per-view franchise? Who's that guy that can get 500,000 buys every single time, whether you fight you or me? I don't think there's a guy.
No, I mean, unless all of a sudden he gets his head straight and he becomes very, very focused. Ryan Garcia is the only guy I can think about because he's young enough, but that's a big if.
That's the biggest if in the history of the big ifs.
I'm just talking star appeal.
Right. Mario, this is interesting. The WBO has said we're going to extend the negotiation period to November 4th for the WBO middleweight title between our guy Janibek and another one of our guys, Hamza Shiraz. I know you don't like this fight, but as a fan, I hope. Come on.
Well, did the Adames fight go by the wayside?
Well, I'm being told by sources, and you could probably guess who they are. I believe that Hamza will more or less, they're going to look for either Erislandy Lara, who has a WBA belt, or Carlos Adames, who has the WBC. From a management perspective, I get the sense you would
both
rather
of those
over Janibek.
Yes.
Are you a fan or a fanager? I got to ask you. I want the fights.
I do
Lara's
want the
185 years old.
Hold on, if you're a real fan, you would want
Janibek.
No, you'd want Hamzat to have at least one more good fight under his belt with a quality opponent before he fights Janibek. Wouldn't you say that makes for a better fight? I'm asking for one more.
Right.
That's all.
I am very surprised that Turki Al-Sheikh, His Excellency, hasn't said, I want that fight or get GTFOH.
I'm not mad at the other fights. If he's able to take the other fights and then hopefully Janibek moves up.
All right. Now, I want to make mention of something that happened a couple of weeks ago. I've been remiss in not mentioning it, but the passing of Max Garcia, who trained many fighters, him in the boxing family of Kathy Garcia, Sam Garcia. I want to pay my respects and my condolences. They are a staple in Salinas. They trained a lot of fighters. Some of them went on to fight for world titles. He passed away a few weeks ago. He was a beloved member of the boxing fraternity, and I want to pay my respects to the Garcia family. Moving on to the Ask Mario portion of the show. We're going to get to a very serious question here. This is one that I think, I hope you have time to think about this and sitting down. Mario, what was it like working with Cleveland Browns legend Bob Golick on Saved by the Bell, the college years? I've been wondering that myself. Can't lie.
Stupid. Dude, I love Golick. He was great. He was such a cool guy, and he had that, I don't know if it was that era, but like him, Lyle Alzado,
Howie Long.
No, but they all had that look, right? They all had that.
And he had the mullet, didn't he?
They had the mullet with the beard. How good was Golic, really?
Pro Bowl level nose guard. He was better than an average player.
Okay,
yes.
So he was solid. Great guy.
Very gregarious.
Was very good. He's not a bad actor.
I actually did a radio show with him one time, a guest spot. Very friendly guy. What you saw on camera was basically the same guy on camera, and his brother played in the NFL, had a very good media career, and I think Mike Golic's son is in the media. So they've done pretty well by this whole thing.
I remember he used to drive a Corvette. A white Corvette.
That is so 80s and 90s.
Isn't that weird? I remember that.
No,
Golic
it's not weird.
big...
That's completely what I expected from a Golic.
Yeah.
Mario, here's one from David. Another Eastern Euro scored a great victory over Tim Tszyu, talking about Bakram Murtalazayev. Mario, who is the best out of the modern Eastern Euro wave? Out of Bivol, Loma, Kovalev, Beterbiev, Usyk, and Triple G.
Wow, they're all excellent Hall of Fame fighters, I think.
They are.
They are all excellent, right?
Who stands out though among this six-pack?
I mean, you're splitting hairs there. If you had to pick at the moment, gun to head, I think you got to go Usyk, right?
Slightly over Golovkin.
I think
because in his biggest fights, Usyk found a way, whether it's fair or not, to win. Now, if Golovkin gets that first fight over Canelo,
which he should have,
that history changes or the legacy changes. Loma's interesting because he does have a few losses, but I thought at least one of them was a complete robbery.
I agree.
I thought he beat Haney, and he should have been crowned the undisputed lightweight champion of the world. And Bivol lost a fight by this much. So that's another one that's really close.
No, that's why I said they're all Hall of Famers.
And as for Beterbiev, but hold on, maybe we're not rating Beterbiev high enough. 21, 20 knockouts.
The only thing that made me hesitate with Beterbiev is because the number of fights.
Right.
You know I love Beterbiev.
And it's only one division, and Usyk's done it twice.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's
to be undisputed.
And he's small compared to those other guys he's done.
Think about it. He's the only guy facing guys 25, 30 pounds bigger and 3 or 4 inches taller.
Dude, he's undisputed in 2 divisions.
Right. Cruiserweight, which was very tough in that era during that Muhammad Ali trophy that he won, the World Boxing Super Series. And then to beat Tyson Fury. And if he does it again, I don't know how many more fights he has, but I think it's going to be Usyk out of the guys that were listed. Here's one from Kevin the Trucker. We've had a week to recover from the Fernando Valenzuela loss. What are your memories of Fernando Mania?
I feel like I've talked about Fernando so much. Just being a Mexican kid growing up. He was only 19, brought up, 20 years old, the only Cy Young Award winner and Rookie of the Year and World Series winner ever in the history of the game. And the fact that he was just so chill, I don't think he understood the word pressure or what it meant. And the fact that he was able to deliver. He pitched so many shutouts that year, too, in complete games. And that game 3, he had like 149 pitches. It was just ridiculous. And, Tommy Lasorda, that just really used that arm up. But he's a legend, bro. You should have seen when I was at the game, which I know we'll talk about, all the love that he got. So he was beloved guys. I saw him not too long ago, and he looked healthy. I posted that picture. And he looked healthy. They still haven't determined it. People are assuming it's cancer.
He kept it very private.
Very private. People are assuming cancer. But you know what? Whatever it was, I'm glad he didn't have to suffer a long time. And it just, those kind of things, you're kind of glad that they just kind of come and they'll take you quickly as opposed to the suffering. Because I've seen that. That's awful.
His rookie year, his first 8 starts, is the greatest start in Major League Baseball history. He basically had an ERA of right around 1. They were all complete games. He became the hottest ticket. To me, growing up in Valencia, California, which was about 98% white, there were very few minorities. It was a very good city. I loved living there when I did. I really didn't know that there were that many Mexicans in California. It was just an enclave.
What you mean, dude? It used to be Mexico. What you mean?
Right. Well, the border crossed you, as they say. Yeah. And then when I went to Montebello, I was like, wow, I understood how important Fernando Valenzuela was. That when he started a game, and I moved there in February of 1986, it was a big thing. And I remember in 1980, the Dodgers played a 3-game series with the Houston Astros. They're down 3 games in the NL West. There was no wild card. The Dodgers sweep that series to force a 1-game playoff, and that's when I first saw Fernando. And I was like, this guy's pretty crafty. I had no idea who he was. And to this day, people think he should have started that 1-game playoff. But Lasorda said, let me go with Dave Goltz, who got lit up. They gave up 7 runs. Yeah. And my favorite moment of Fernando Valenzuela was Game 3 of the 81 World Series. Dodgers are down 2-0. They had already lost the 77 and 78 World Series. And it almost seemed like there was a hex over the Dodgers when it came to the Yankees. And it was a must-win situation because if the Dodgers go down 3-0, it's over. Fernando Valenzuela did not have a great game, but he went home with 147 pitches in one night. Mario, they would fire people if you allowed that today.
Of course.
It would not be allowed, and he won 5-4, complete game, swung the series back to the Dodgers.
And how ironic that the Dodgers are playing the Yankees this year,
right.
the year he died. And I'm hoping he's a little angel out there helping us out.
Yeah, and when you watch the Dodger games, I've seen it. A lot of Valenzuela jerseys are still out there. And in fact, in Montebello, about 2 minutes from my office, the Quiet Canyon Golf Course and Country Club, he was there many times.
Yeah.
And every single story that you hear of him running into fans, always very positive.
Always nice.
He was great to the people.
Great for the community.
Great for the community, and he loved his fans. Here's one from Hamed Boxing. How do you guys see Devin Haney or Teofimo Lopez against Jack Catterall playing out at 140? Also, if Tyson Fury does come in heavier against Usyk in the rematch than the first fight, how will that impact the fight?
Those two questions. So the first one, I think Catterall's a bad style for Teofimo. Will give him a lot of problems. I don't think he'll take that fight. With Devin Haney, I mean, I'm really sort of bummed that Devin Haney has taken so much time off. What's his excuse, by the way? Why did he decide to take so much time off? He's not suspended. Not to deviate,
well, remember, he got upset at promoters who are no longer his promoters not bidding on his fight or overbidding or overpaying him. Devin, the market's the market.
Right.
Okay, and the other thing is now he's saying, well, maybe Turki Al-Sheikh should pay for this. Right, or maybe he shouldn't. That's his business. You got to get on. Look, he had a shot to fight Liam Paro, and then he didn't like some of the terms or what was being offered. He is now training at Wildcard. I've seen the footage. So he's back in the gym. I know that.
I just think another fight would have lessened the stank
right.
and all the grief that he's been getting on social media, and he could have moved on and he would have been in action and people could have had that as a last impression. But now you just have Ryan trolling him and everyone else. So I'm really surprised and disappointed that he hasn't been able to jump in there right away. He's handled that in a really odd way. I think he has better success against Catterall than maybe like a Teofimo Lopez, but with Teo's on, I think he can go through both of them. As far as Fury, heavier Fury. We saw what happened with heavier Fury and Deontay Wilder. We'll see. He's one of those cats that you don't know how he's going to come in prepared. You know Usyk's going to come in prepared and probably even a little bit more confident. But he's so damn big, anything can happen with him.
A heavier Fury may be a less mobile Fury. Maybe it just provides a bigger target.
Also, a more dangerous Fury if he lands that big uppercut. Lands it. You don't know, but maybe there's a lot of maybes. We don't know.
But keep this in mind: the guy that was hurt the most when they fought 4 months ago was not the Ukrainian guy. It was the big British guy. Round 8.
Does more weight help you absorb that? You think, or no?
That's a great question.
We'll see.
It really is, and we'll see. As for who Catterall would do better against, I think it's Teofimo Lopez, but here's the issue with Devin Haney, though. And you can agree or disagree. I believe that there's more psychological questions that are. Look, we know physically he got banged up.
All the more reason why I thought he should have got in there right away, right? It's like you fall off a break. You want to get on it right away.
And here's Catterall is not what I'd consider a great puncher. He's a solid professional striker, right? But against Josh Taylor and now Regis, he has shown he doesn't swing a wiffle ball bat. He turns over that punch on that knuckle.
That's sharp.
It's still a pretty sharp punch. So, look, I'll put it to you this way. I don't think Catterall gets either guy for different reasons, at least in his next fight. Here's one from Cali X. Does a great YouTube channel with D-Style Boxing and his own solo channel. What's a boxing moment for Mario that left him as thrilled or close to it as the Dodgers Game 1 walk-off home run? Wow, great question.
First of all, it was a walk-off grand slam, that game. Unbelievable. I got out of work late that day, damn it, but it was so great to see. LA really showed up as far as both Flaherty and Garrett Cole from LA, Giancarlo Stanton that hit the home run for the Yankees from LA, and Freddie Freeman, of course, from LA. So LA was represented. It must have been cool for those guys to play in their hometown. Dude, that was like a movie. Bottom of the 10th, bases are loaded. The disrespect they walk Mookie to get you to Freddie Freeman. It could have happened to a nicer guy too. He was injured. He had problems with his child. You know, his mom died of cancer when he was 10, and he ran straight to his dad. After the whole thing was like a movie. So I'm really glad he had that moment. And that's why my voice since then it's been shot. And we were at game 2, the wife and I. Ice Cube started on the field, partying it up right there. And that went down to the wire at the bottom of the ninth. We were able to pull that off. Dude, the Dodgers look small next to the Yankees. Aaron Judge, who's 6'7", monster.
Everyone looks small next to him.
No, but Giancarlo Stanton, too, 6'5", 260. Dude looks built like The Rock. His uniform looks like it's shrunk. Like, it doesn't look like it fits right. Rizzo's big, too. That dude's like 6'4.5". It's like the Dodgers look tiny next to those guys. To answer the question, the only thing that I can think of right off the top of my head is when I was in high school and I saw Chavez knock out Taylor.
A terrible stoppage.
Nah, that's
a
ridiculous.
Complete miscarriage of justice.
All these years later, and you don't admit the truth.
I actually think Richard Steele should be banned from boxing. I hope he doesn't make me any Hall of Fame.
You've lost all credibility with that awful take. That awful take.
Just a gut-wrenching,
he timed it.
loss.
He timed it perfectly toward the last 2 seconds. He timed it. And when he asked him twice, go ahead and watch the 30 for 30 doc again.
30 for 30?
It's not the 30 for 30. The HBO Legendary Nights. The Legendary Nights. Watch that again.
What a terrible ending.
That was great. No,
I'm
great.
just glad the
And he goes like this.
public.
He looked at him like this. Are you okay? Are you okay twice? And he was not okay because he was all fucked up and he was out on his feet, and that's why they stopped it.
I am glad that the
He was out on his feet.
No, he wasn't.
And you ask, listen. You asked, and I've asked both Richard Steele and you asked Freddie Roach. Ask Freddie Roach.
Yeah, I made the worst call ever.
Listen, ask Freddie Roach, who didn't have any fight, didn't have no horse in the race.
To do with this?
Freddie, I'm going to tell you what he said. Freddie was in the front row that night, and he was in person, and he said, I had it even going into the 12th
That's
round.
fine, but it was still a bad stoppage. I am glad that Richard Steele...
It was an excellent stoppage, and he could have died.
I am glad
you know what could have happened, Kim?
I am glad that Richard Steele got booed vociferously every time he got announced, because quite frankly, he deserved it. Now, the one moment that I believe for a lot of Mexican fans was the Grand Slam Freddie Freeman moment. Pacquiao Marquez 4. I mean, I'll never forget being there. I thought Manny was just about to take over that fight.
I'll tell you why that wasn't as special. Because they fought 4 times. They fought 4 times.
And what an exclamation point.
You know what I mean?
And to finally get the Mexicutioner, when Manny Pacquiao's lifeless body was there, it was kind of stunning. And to see, you had to have been there. Like, these Mexicans were waiting for this for basically 7-8 years for somebody to do that.
But that was anticlimactic because they fought 4 times. Had they fought,
you really called that anticlimactic?
He still got 3 out of 4 of them. So if he only still got 3 out of 4 of them.
No, first one was a draw.
Okay, fine. 2.5 out of 4 of them.
And by the way,
he had 2.5 out of 4 of them.
Had
he had that the first time, then it would have been different. But it was the 4th time.
And then also the rematch in the third fight. A lot of people thought Marquez won. That's what added to it. I personally thought Marquez won the third fight. I'll be honest with you.
What takes it away is that it was the 4th damn fight. They didn't need to be fighting again. But I thought it showed the greatness of Manny to take on yet an opponent who he didn't need to, who knew was a tough out, who knew he had a bad style, and the fact that he wanted to face him yet again,
right?
Ballsy.
And
we don't see that.
And I give Manny a lot of credit because after 2012, he still put on an unbelievable run, and years later to beat Keith Thurman. But again,
exactly.
But here's another moment I think.
But it takes it away because it was a 4th time for me.
Captured well, we've talked about this, Tyson Douglas. I think everyone realizes, remembers where they were. That
happened the same year Chavez knocked out Taylor.
A month apart. One was February 10th. The other one was March 17th of 1990.
Yeah.
So are we talking about a one-punch knockout that resonated? I still remember when...
No, it wasn't or not. He's talked about a moment.
I know one, and there was no social media, but people went nuts. When Hassan Rahman iced Lennox Lewis in Johannesburg, South Africa. That was about 3 weeks after Hamed got undressed by Marco Antonio Barrera. And Emmanuel Stewart says that's the worst 3-week stretch of his training career because he was losing corner both.
Wasn't Lennox coming off a movie?
Ocean's 11.
Yeah, he was
Larry
coming
Merchant,
off a movie, took him kind of lightly.
Larry Merchant had the greatest line. He said Lennox Lewis is drowned in Ocean's 11. I mean, it just encapsulated what had happened.
But focus Lennox Lewis, how'd that work out in the rematch?
Well, that's what made the first fight so stunning. The other fight, in recent years... I don't know if there's been a fight that really had that moment where you're kind of buzzing.
You still talk about it. Look, we still talk about your incorrect take on Taylor and Chavez all these years later.
Terrible stoppage. All I could say to Richard Steele is, boo! Anyway.
How'd that work out later on for Mildred Taylor?
Well, he fought too long. But one has nothing to do with the other.
One was in the hospital for a week, piss and blood. That has nothing to do with it.
And it still makes it a terrible stoppage.
One was in the hospital. The other one looked like he just shaved, and he was clean.
Let me ask you something.
Who would you have rather been at the end of that fight? Thank you.
Well, that's
Thank
but
you.
it has nothing to do with the stoppage.
Yes, it has everything to
See,
do
you're
with
so
it.
used to arguing with people say, yes, Mario.
No,
But I'm the one guy
you're
that stands
used to
up-
saying
No,
people
I'm
to succumb.
No, I
I'm
don't.
telling you the truth.
No, I mean, here's the thing, though.
And you're not being honest with yourself.
I'm being
You would have
more-
rather been Taylor at the end of that fight?
Oh, no. I would have
Okay,
much rather
then.
been Chavez, but it's
Okay,
still a
then.
bad stoppage.
But it was- it
Because by
wasn't.
that standard, then, we just like, who's doing more
But
damage?
it wasn't.
No.
That's usually what happens in a prize fight, Kim.
Right.
Who's doing more damage?
In
Isn't that how you judge it? This is an amateur.
Right. And guess
Okay,
what?
well,
That's
I'm right
why.
again.
And that's why you shouldn't have stopped it, though. He had earned the right.
Yeah,
and
you're
he
right.
Up
Yeah,
at the
hold on.
count of
Yeah,
3
but you
and a
should have
half.
answered the ref. If you would have
Well,
answered the ref,
look,
I would have
I
said,
don't-
should he not have answered the ref?
I
Answer that.
believe
Should he have not
was
answered the ref?
distracted. Yeah.
Should he have not answered?
But do I believe that?
Did he answer?
But Mario, here's the thing.
Hold on a
though.
second. Should he have answered the ref? Yes. Did he
Yes.
answer?
No.
No.
But
Okay,
was-
end of discussion.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Because
End
if
of
you
discussion.
ask me, it's a terrible stoppage. You could say it a million times,
but
Mario.
that's your
a lot
opinion,
of
but that's not-
right, and that's your opinion. My opinion is just as much as yours.
No,
right?
because mine is what happened, though.
No, a
Mine is
bad.
what actually
no.
happened.
Well, it's a bad stoppage. It's
But
a
it's
bad
not.
stoppage.
It would have been a bad stoppage.
If-
It would have been
here's the
sad.
thing.
Hold on a second. And this is the last thing I'll say. It would have been a bad stoppage, if I agree with you, if he would have answered him. He did not.
I think
not.
he should have answered. I think it's still a bad stoppage.
Okay,
You
well,
could say it a
he should have
million
answered.
times.
Well, there we
Right.
go.
Anyway, moving on.
Anyway,
And to
then we're-
Richard Steele,
and
you're
I
a
agree.
terrible referee. I almost think I don't want to say anymore.
Final flurries.
Anyway, Mario, World Series
God, you just agreed with me. That was awesome.
is
Go on.
no. The
Yeah, you
Dodgers.
did. You just said the thing. Yes.
Are they
We're
going to
talking
blow
about
this?
Dodgers
Are they going to blow this? They're up 2-0 now. Remember, 78.
As of
I think they were
Monday-
up 2-0. Right? 78. They were 2-0. It's my first baseball memory.
Believe me, every game you're like on pins and needles. Because I was behind home plate. Everybody saw me. They go, dude, you look stressed out during the whole game. I was like, because I was. I know nothing's for sure. The crazy thing about the Dodgers is we're playing with all the starting pitchers are essentially hurt. So we're on just going on bullpen. Then Shohei's over here with a dislocated shoulder. He's gonna play, but he's hurt. It's like we're cursed. I'm just hoping that the Fernando Valenzuela angel is looking upon us and helps us through. But I'm surprised we're in this position, to be honest with you.
Aaron Judge has
Considering the
more
injuries.
pressure on him than anybody. I didn't realize he was that bad in the postseason or in the World Series.
Really bad.
And it reminded me of Dave Winfield in 1981. I think he went 1 for 16. And George,
I see him at all the games all the time.
And-
He's a big ass dude.
6'8", got drafted in 3 sports.
Big ass dude.
And George Steinbrenner said, no, there's my Mr. May.
Oh wow, cold.
It wasn't
as
Mr.
ice.
October. He said, there's
Cold
my
as
Mr.
ice.
May. Mario, you are hosting the Miss Universe again. When's that?
That is November 15th weekend in Mexico City. Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Okay.
That'll be fun. But those are fun because those are like sporting events for women.
Right.
And,
they are sporting events?
In the sense that they're live, women get into them, they bet and all of that.
They do, really?
Yeah, women get it. They have parties for this whole thing. They love it. It's like they're a little Super Bowl because, their countries are always, especially in the Latin countries, Colombia, Puerto Rico, Mexico, they get really into it.
Wepa.
So yeah, it's a good time.
And Mario, there was a UFC card this past weekend. What happened?
This UFC card was incredible. It was in Saudi Arabia, and God, man, this has to be one of the best years ever, I think, for the UFC, and it was such an incredible show. The co-main event and the main event with Robert Whittaker from Australia and Hamzat Chimaev from Chechnya. That was
those guys
supposed
are
to
all
be,
tough.
dude. But everybody picked, all the fighters picked Robert Whittaker because Hamzat was coming off of some mysterious illness and he hadn't fought in a long time. They thought he was going to be rusty. This dude went out there and ragdolled him. And they're both great wrestlers, but Chimaev's like a whole nother level of that Dagestani kind of wrestling. And he got him in a face crank. He squeezed him so hard, he literally broke his jaw and dude's teeth popped out. You know how hard you got to squeeze someone for their teeth to pop out? That was like one of the wildest things. I've never seen that before. It was wild.
Jeez.
That was incredible. So he'll be fighting for the title soon against Dricus, unless Strickland has an up. So we'll see what Dana decides to do. But the main event, a lot of people thought Max Holloway. They were favoring Max Holloway against Ilia Topuria from Spain. This dude, to my book, is the fighter of the year because he knocked out Volkanovski and he knocked out Holloway in the second round. And he's the best boxer by far in the UFC. And he put his hands to work and dropped him. But he's also an incredible wrestler. He was on the National Greco-Roman team. This dude is a complete fighter. Just fucking specimen. he's badass. So that dude is my fighter of the year, and I don't see anyone beating him in that weight class.
All right. And this past weekend, Mario Cristobal, 8-0. Good job, Miami.
Dude, you need to get a team that you root for that's closer. You go all the way to Miami. That shit's expensive.
Oh, by the way,
you come on.
Yeah, you know what?
You need to like get closer.
I know,
like,
but you know what? It's not like a kid.
You got your money bags over here or what?
Well, here's the thing, though. It's not like a guy from San Diego cheering for the Dodgers. Anyway,
what are you talking about? That's 2 hours, and I live here.
And I see a lot of derision. A couple things.
I've been here since I was 10 years old.
San Diego, they're
but
talking
Miami,
some shit
I'm in
about it.
California. Why are you going all the way over?
It's a national brand. Because football is our number one sport. It's the one thing.
You don't have any affiliation to there.
You want to bet?
I live here. You don't have any affiliation to there.
Man, you know, they hate you.
I live here.
Mr. 619
I live here. My kids are born here.
Man, you don't have to get loud.
But
awfully defensive.
No, but I have a legit reason. This is the same. Because this is the same sort of logic you use for Taylor Chavez. You have no affiliation to the state of Florida, much less Miami. All I said is
Miami. What a great city.
That's fine. All I'm saying is you should get a team that you root for closer because that shit's expensive. It's not like next door. You're flying all the way across the country.
I can afford it.
Oh, okay. That's what I said. Money bags. All right.
I mean,
all right. Go
but
for
man,
it then.
619 is upset at you. I see that on social media.
Please, dude. I've been here my whole life.
I mean, they're not happy with you. But anyway,
no, I was Chula Vista.
If you want to sponsor our show, info@boxbid.io. We want to thank everyone that made this show possible on behalf of Mario Lopez, Smokin' Tim Frazier, and Tino on the edits. This has been the 3 Knockdown Rule brought to you by Hustler Casino.